So I created a gem called validation issues. Essentially, the problem was I was working at Shoedazzle, and actually I wrote it years later. But at Shoedazzle, we had a lot of problems with forms not performing very well in A/B tests. Now every business guy had an educated or uneducated guess on what the hell was going on. So like, oh, it's this, it's that, it's this, and we're basing it off no data. So essentially, I was thinking at that time, like, I got to create a gem that actually just gives us data before we start doing an A/B test. And I created this. And what this does is, let's say you're going into your form, and crap, which tab is it? Okay, you have a form, and all of a sudden you're going into the form, and if the user say it works, you log the success. If it doesn't work, it logs the fact that something went wrong, and it'll tell you like the email field wasn't filled out correctly, or that little checkbox that nobody hits wasn't filled out correctly. So it'll give you an educated guess on where you should be doing your A/B tests and saying, okay, you know what, we should be modifying the first name because, or let's say we got 1,000 first names. What happened at Shoedazzle is that's exactly what happened. Is people would fill out their first name and then put a space at the end. Our regex said, oh, that space at the end fails the regex, and we weren't letting anybody come in with the name David space. So that would have been really easy to identify if you have this and you see a log count of like 5,000 people that fill out their first name out of 10,000 people. That just doesn't make sense. So it'll point you to the right direction. You don't even need to do any A/B test at that point. You can just, hey, there's a problem. But other cases, you might want to do an A/B test. And you can compare. I pass in the form. So let's say if this was an A/B test, I could, in the A, I could say form A, and then, or I could say form B. So now you're in the admin section, which is another tab, of course. Right here, you would have, maybe, I think I have another tab over here someplace. I can't move this. Well, anyways, I think there's a tab over here. Oh, anyways, you can't see too much here, but let's say I click that. Well, it says no issues yet. Kind of sucks. Essentially, it'll give you a breakdown. Email has 15 issues. The first name has 2 issues and whatnot, and it'll tell you the total number of issues and the total count. So essentially, you're just going in there and going, oh crap, I got issues because of X, Y, Z reason. It gives you all the data you need. It's pretty simple to use, and when I don't really see any reason why you wouldn't ever take it down if you put it in there, but I'm assuming after a while you don't need the data anymore. And if you're running an A/B test and all of a sudden you change the A/B test, you just click reset and it zeroes everything out so you can kind of get fresh data again. That's pretty much it.
Did you embed an app inside of it for the web thing, or do you have to
Embed an app? It's a Rails engine. It's just a Rails engine.
Okay.
So you just put it in there. I give you instructions over here, and this is kind of telling you why you gem, you bundle, you bring. I actually have you bring in the actual. Do I? Migrations, yeah, right there, and then you do have to have. I think. Yeah, this method. You have to add this method. So you know who can actually go in, and usually it's just going to be current user.admin can go in, but maybe you want current user validation admin. You create a validation admin for whatever. So you're going to add some type of who has permissions. You add active validation issues to the model, and then in the form you just say log it, and that URL would go to the admin section. So it's pretty. It doesn't do too much, but it does enough. It does what it does. So I'm assuming no questions. All right, cool. That's it.